Part 168. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1671. Those who know the original work will know that Xiaoming is a little too arrogant. Libra Dou and Sagittarius Ilos are both extremely powerful among the Gold Saints. In the original work, Dou, as a person who has lived from the last holy war to the present, has a skill of more than 200 years that is definitely not exaggerated. His strength ranks first in the Gold Saints combat power ranking, followed by Saga of the First Female and Saga of Gemini, and Ialos is almost the fourth. Well, the researcher already has 3 of the top 4 gold armors. Does Xiaoming really have the ability to protect his subordinates through the tests of these big guys? The researcher is not completely without support. Because although Xiaoming himself has not comprehended it, the move Heavenly Dance Wheel has been imprinted in the skill list of the researcher character. When Xiaoming operates it personally, he can use Heavenly Dance Wheel to deal with the Gold Saint. So the combat power of the researcher is actually much stronger than the other 3 characters. Let's put it this way, if the divers and explorers can use the Heavenly Dance Wheel, people like Kanan, Checkfried, Badu, Surant, etc. will definitely be defeated. Maybe. To be honest, the Heavenly Dance Wheel is not invincible. First of all, using it against Shaka is just showing off one's proficiency before an expert, and there is no hope. Secondly, using the Heavenly Dance Wheel against Dou probably won't work. His strength is there. He can dodge in an instant by seeing the small details. Even using it against Saga and Ialos may not be effective. In the original work, Shaka did use the Heavenly Dance Wheel to force Saga and other 3 Gold Saints into a desperate situation. However, the researcher may not have enough realm. Whether the Heavenly Dance Wheel he used will be cracked by the powerful Gold Saints is hard to say. If Xiaoming wants to be safe, he should really choose some weaker Gold Saints. He is really a bit arrogant in choosing these few. However, then again, there are actually no real weaklings among the Gold Saints. The so-called ranking of strength is just based on their performance in the original work. In fact, everyone's combat performance fluctuates. Today you improve, tomorrow I regress, in the morning you are in better condition, in the afternoon I am more brave, everything is changing, and it is difficult to make an absolutely fair ranking. Perhaps it is more appropriate to divide them into several levels. These few are probably the strongest ones, and the others are slightly worse, and the remaining few are a little worse. Xiaoming looked at his subordinates, and there seemed to be no one who could serve as a Gold Saint. At this point, there must be smart people who will point out that there is a way. As long as the Alien Queen breeds alien warriors, and then Xiaoming transforms them into alien King Kong, and then equips them with the Kyber Crystal weapon system, this can reach the 7th level. Haha, well, in fact, it is Xiaoming himself who really wants to play this little trick. He tried it in the underwater temple. But in practice, he found that he was able to transform the aliens into aliens because they were mind beasts, not real creatures. And if you replace the flesh and blood of a real alien with metal, it will die. This way is not feasible at all. Xiaoming tried another transformation method, using insect evolution needle to improve the combat effectiveness of the aliens. It did work a little, and the alien warriors all improved a lot. However, none of them could reach level 5, and they were not even eligible to exchange for bronze armor, which was meaningless. However, this also gave Xiaoming an important inspiration. He could use the insect evolution needle on the 2 level 6 Minotaurs. There is no need to upgrade these 2 B-level guys to level A as long as they can reach level B+, they can buy the gold armor from the goddess at a high price. As expected, Niuda and Niu-Er were upgraded to a small level after being transformed into insect humans. Athena took the opportunity to open up the channel for them to exchange for gold armor. What a face! The most suitable Taurus gold cloth is definitely the one for the Minotaur, but it's a pity that it's already been given to Transformer Zhang Ren. Xiaoming thought about it and exchanged the Capricorn gold cloth for Niuda and the Leo gold cloth for Niu Er. Capricorn Milo and Leo Iolia are both Saint Ceas who charge and hit hard, so they can be considered compatible with Niuda and Niu Er. After the Niu brothers' mother Niuda Ma evolved into a bug human, she improved more than her two sons, from the middle of the 4th level to the lower level of the 5th level. She can be exchanged for the bronze cloth openly. Xiaoming casually took the bronze cloth of Ursa Major for Niuda Ma. It's also more suitable for the style of the Minotaur. The situation of the 3 Minotaur NPCs is so good, and the protagonist type characters that Xiaoming has high hopes for make Xiaoming even happier. The 3 white people Long, the red people Ken, and the Chinese girl Chun-Li all rushed directly from the 4th level to the 6th level. It's a pity that none of them reached the upper level of the 6th level, otherwise they could be exchanged for the gold cloth. The researcher kindly suggested that they inject the insect evolution needle to improve their realm. However, the 3 people rejected it sternly. They were not interested in changing their race. Speaking of Xiaoming's other subordinates, whether they are aliens or Minotaurs, their microcosms are only auxiliary abilities and are not strong. They still rely on their original abilities to fight. But these 3 are different. Their original abilities are not high. Instead, they rely on their microcosms to have a 6th level combat power, so they really have silver level microcosms. Therefore, they even rejected Xiaoming's proposal to exchange for silver clothes for them. They planned to exchange with their own strength. And, to be honest, they were not satisfied with the status quo, nor were they in a hurry to exchange for silver clothes. The 3 of them wanted to practice hard, strive to be promoted to the 6th level, and get a gold clothes to show off. It must be said that the 3 of them are really ambitious. But there are only 4 gold clothes. Can they really wait for them to take them? You know, one of the last 4 gold clothes was almost taken away by General Lin Mei, who came later. Lin Mei came from the secret realm of the Great Wall. In that secret realm, every 60 years, endless Daodi will invade the central plains from the north. No one will be left wherever they pass. In order to resist the attack of Daodi, the Chinese court specially built the Great Wall and stationed the most elite shadowless Forbidden Army on the Great Wall. The shadowless Forbidden Army is divided into 5 armies: bear, crane, tiger, deer, and eagle. The crane army's combat method is to tie a flying rope around the waist and dive from high altitude to attack. Therefore, women with lighter weight are more suitable, so the crane army is an army composed of all women. General Lin Mei is the leader of this army. She was originally only level 3, but it is obvious that she is more compatible with the small universe, so her strength has increased greatly, and she has reached the same level as the 3 from Street Fighter and reached level 6. Moreover, Lin Mei was seduced by Xiaoming and accepted the insect evolution needle. The shell of the insect race grew on her body and a pair of crane wings grew on her back, reaching the upper level of level 6. Xiaoming could have exchanged her for the gold saint cloth, but considering her pair of wings, he still exchanged her for the phoenix bronze saint cloth. Forget about Iki, he is not as pleasing to the eye as Lin Mei, and it is enough to give him a phoenix underworld cloth. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1672. I am unknown. I don't exist in the world. After I die, no one will mourn for me. No one will burn incense for me. After I die, I will be gone. The only purpose of my existence is to fight for the shadowless Forbidden Army and the Great Wall. This is the oath of every soldier when he joins the shadowless Forbidden Army. And most members of the Forbidden Army can stick to this oath. Not afraid of sacrifice, not seeking to leave a name, just to protect the people from being harmed by Daodi. In the secret realm, Xiaoming personally witnessed the scale of the Daodi army. If he hadn't used the poisonous fruit to clean up the Daodi, I'm afraid that only 1 in 10 of the shadowless Forbidden Army stationed at the Great Wall would survive. It's not impossible that the whole army would be wiped out. Those soldiers are still young and in their prime. Just like this, they sacrificed their lives without hesitation. Xiaoming has to admire this spirit. So the mental strength of the shadowless forbidden army is very tenacious and powerful. As the commander of an army, Lin Mei is the best among them. Let's look at the world of Saint Seiya. Because Hades, Poseidon, and other gods are always eyeing the world and destroying mankind, the goddess Athena will summon the saints to fight to protect mankind. They are both young and brave. The spiritual concepts of the saints and the shadowless army are exactly the same. It is no wonder that Lin Mei, who is only level 3, can quickly rise to such a high level as level 6 after obtaining the microcosm. In fact, almost all the gold saints have reached a very high level at a very young age. Saga and others were recognized by the gold armor when they were in their teens. Lin Mei is a few steps behind them. The 299 level 2 Crane Army female warriors under her command are not inferior to the commander in terms of spiritual core. Unfortunately, they are not the protagonist type plot characters, and there is no so-called luck bonus. Therefore, these Crane Army female warriors only rushed from level 2 to level 4. Following the general, they received the Insect Man evolution needle and underwent the same Crane Wing evolution as the general, reaching the level of a 5th level Bronze Saint. Now they can even completely take over the Bronze Saint cloth. However, Xiaoming did not exchange Saint cloth for them. Because it is unnecessary. As insect humans, the Crane Army can use the collective mind ability of the Insect Saint cloth, and its defense is no worse than that of Saint cloth of the same level. Why waste the Bronze Saint cloth? Only the Gold Saint cloth is far superior to the 7th level Insect Saint cloth, which is still worth exchanging. The Phoenix Bronze Saint cloth is quite special and is also worth exchanging. Forget about the others. In fact, the Insect Saint cloth and the Saint cloth do not conflict. The Insect Saint cloth is an energy body, and the Saint cloth is a real object. There is no situation where you can only wear one, and the defense can be superimposed. Xiaoming did not exchange the Bronze Saint cloth, purely because he felt that he should leave a little hope for other players and NPCs. We still have to rely on others for believers. Imagine, in space, General Lin Mei is flying in front wearing Phoenix cloth and leading the way, and 299 female Crane Army Saints are flying behind wearing uniform insect clothes in a standard formation. What a handsome and eye-catching picture. But if there are dozens of people in the team wearing messy bronze clothes, it will be really unsightly and even affect the combat effectiveness of the team. It's good now, Xiaoming convinced himself with this reason. The NPCs in the magic cube have been arranged clearly. Next, Xiaoming thought of the researcher's eldest sister and second brother. It must be more comfortable to pull them in to be saints. And those heroes and generals under his command, those who look pleasing to the eye and have a close relationship, can all be pulled in to be saints. It's just that before he takes action, there are some things that he has to sort out. Because at this time, outside the bedroom door of the first female palace researcher, there is already a lot of noise. All that was missing was the gongs and drums, the firecrackers, the red flags, and the huge crowds of people. Originally, all the forces sent believers to join the first maiden palace, on the one hand to establish a communication channel with the goddess Athena, on the other hand, they also planned to talk to the first believer, the researcher. A god who had just resurrected, her first believer had great value. The researcher had long been a favorite in the eyes of all parties. But after they entered the first maiden palace, they found that the researcher had been controlled by an intelligent program. Occasionally, when the player came online, it was because they had urgent things to do, and they hurriedly finished and went offline again. The envoys of all parties wanted to negotiate with the players but couldn't find a free time. How big a figure is this, with such a full schedule? Of course, the NPCs would not clearly realize the difference between real people and intelligent programs, but acted according to this rule under the management of the game system. Later, after more than 10 days of torture, everyone couldn't figure out when the player would go online, so they could only send 1 or 2 spies to guard outside the researcher's bedroom door and wait for the right opportunity. Today, the researcher's bedroom is unusually lively. Xiaoming opened the small universe for his subordinates in the bedroom, injected the insect evolution needle, and helped them exchange for holy clothes. After completing this set of things, Xiaoming did not put Zhang Ren, Zhang Hong, Niu De, Niu Er, and others back into the magic cube, but allowed them to leave the bedroom and wander around the Chinook Palace. If you get tired of playing, you can also leave the Chinook Palace and stroll around the ruins of the Greek sanctuary, just like traveling. In this way, one after another Saint Seiya came out of the bedroom, and soon aroused the vigilance of the spies. They passed the information to their bosses. The bosses also actively deployed personnel. When Lin Mei's 300 Crane soldiers marched out in a valiant and high-spirited formation, dozens of representatives from various forces had gathered outside the door of the driller's bedroom. Taking advantage of the door being open, they shouted inside. They wanted to communicate with the driller. After waiting for half a month, these representatives had accumulated a lot of resentment in their hearts and wanted to unite to suppress the driller. However, the saints who came out of the bedroom before scared them. Especially the last few hundred female saints. Regardless of the strength of each individual, the collective appearance of so many saints is very scary. The dirty words that the representatives wanted to blurt out were forced back into their stomachs. The strength that the driller inadvertently showed was too strong, and the negotiation strategies that had been formulated were no longer appropriate. I used to think he was a soft persimmon, and I felt sorry for myself if I didn't pinch him. Now they found that he was not just a soft persimmon, but a fierce dragon crossing the river. All parties felt that they needed to re-examine their attitude towards this person. However, the opportunity was rare, so they still shouted, hoping to sit down and communicate with the researcher. The words and sentences were very polite. If you can't use force, can't you still fool him? The technology of using both soft and hard methods is understood by every force of a certain size. It just depends on the level of the user. The representatives are ready to fight, just waiting for a while to speak eloquently. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1673. Oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, sister, please be gentle, your ears are about to fall off. Strategic map. In the Admiral's mansion of Diao City in the East China Sea, the researcher's ear was pinched by the sworn sister Li Huamei, who pulled her up and spun around while the researcher cried and begged for mercy. To say it hurts, of course it doesn't hurt. Putting aside the fact that players can turn off pain perception at will, how can an eldest sister really exert force? Okay, she certainly didn't do it lightly. But even if Li Huamei twisted it hard, how could it possibly cause S-level Xiaoming to feel pain? I cried out in pain and begged for mercy just to give my eldest sister face. Xiaoming simply didn't want to pay attention to the representatives of various forces gathered at the palace of the First Lady in the Greek Holy Land. When I get most of the holy clothes, I will pass all the test tasks. At that time, the researcher's worth is naturally different, so it is a good time to negotiate. Talking about it now, these forces may have some unrealistic wishful thinking and unacceptable conditions. Negotiations can easily break down. I would definitely not agree to excessive conditions, but refusing them face to face would seem disrespectful to others. Just let them wait for a while. Xiaoming opened the portal and came to Diao City, preparing to recruit the Li family pirates. As soon as I said this to my eldest sister Li Huamei, she was so angry. With such a good thing, It took half a month for the third brother to inform me. He must have had an itchy skin. While sending people to summon all the generals to the admiral's mansion for a meeting, he pinched his third brother's ears and scolded. "You brat, your wings are stiff now, aren't you? You don't even discuss such a big matter with your sister. Do you know how to deal with gods?" The researcher murmured in his heart, "You speak as if you know it yourself, but I didn't dare to say it openly, so I could only apologize and beg for mercy. It really doesn't make sense that he came to see Li Huamei after half a month. However, when he does something good, he naturally gives it to his subordinates first, and then it is his turn to become sworn brothers." The NPC's view of the sworn relationship between the researcher and Li Huamei and Richard is sincere, but from the player's perspective, there is still a layer of separation. Soon, the second brother Richard arrived first. He lived in the admiral's mansion and must have been the first to get the news. When he came, the researcher was finally saved. The researcher who was rescued by his second brother told the story about the Saint Cecilia and the goddess Athena again very eloquently. As for the underwater temple, Nordic fairy palace, and the underworld, there is no need to mention it. Richard thought for a while and then asked, "Third brother, from your point of view, to what extent is the little universe of eldest sister and me, silver or gold?" The eldest sister on the side still pretended to be angry, but her ears perked up, and she was very interested in the answer to this question. In fact, Xiaoming could tell it the first time he saw them. The eldest sister Li Huamei has indeed reached the level of the Golden Saint, and the second brother Richard has actually reached the B-end level, which means that he can also exchange for the Golden Saint cloth. What Li Huamei can do is very normal. She is an absolute protagonist in the plot, and she is also a native in the main game. It's normal for the system to take more care of her. But Richard should be a character who only exists in the background of the story. If it weren't for Xiaoming's intervention, he wouldn't have become the lich he is now. He shouldn't have much luck. Perhaps it was because of his sworn relationship with Li Huamei and the researcher Jinlan that his importance in the system evaluation system changed. Eldest sister, second brother, I'm not flattering you too, you can definitely redeem the golden holy clothes from Athena. It's just that there are a lot of small universes that need to be dedicated to the goddess, but don't worry, I can bear it all. Xiaoming patted his chest. Guaranteed, try to save some face. Li Huamei and Richard looked at each other, nodded and smiled, and happily accepted the third brother's offer. There is no need to be too polite between sworn brothers. Soon, the important figures of the Li family pirates who were fully trusted by Li Huamei, including the members of the Li family's second fleet under the researcher, basically all arrived. Many people were not in Diao City at this time, and it was up to the researchers to use the portal to bring them back. The only exception is Song Xiaofeng. She is young and uncertain, and has not been in the Li family for a long time. More importantly, Song Xiaofeng is a Taoist priest and is not suitable to change his career to become a saint. The three siblings have no intention of taking her with them. The Li family's pirate power is full of talented people, and the attention they receive from Athena's line far exceeds Xiaoming's expectations. First of all, the couple Li Huamei and Richard activated a unique option. They joined forces to become the double-star Golden Saints of Gemini. Xiaoming was shocked at that time. I am a person who has been the Pope of the Greek Holy Land. Why have I never heard of the saying that there are double-star saints in Gemini? It turns out that a member of the game's creative team felt that it was unreasonable for Gemini to have only one saint. The 12 Golden Saints should obviously be 13. Every generation of Gemini saints is a pair of twin brothers, or they may be sisters. But there is only one holy garment. Doesn't this force one of them to rebel? In fact, Geminis in the past generations have always caused conflicts between brothers and created a lot of problems. The goddess is simply causing trouble for herself. Take a look at the Nordic Immortal Palace. Qiang Star has 2 divine warriors, 1 chief and 1 assistant, and 2 sets of holy clothes. This is great, as long as the auxiliary star god fighter is not particularly ambitious. Having a shadow god battle suit can appease him to a certain extent. So, this person made some changes to the Gemini setting, and twin brothers, ordinary brothers, and sworn brothers, including sisters, can all apply for the Gemini double star gold cloth together. This set of Gemini double star gold cloth has more parts, which can be put together to form two gold clothes, one main and one auxiliary. The extra auxiliary Gemini cloth will be simpler. If only one person redeems the Gemini gold cloth, then the simple clothes will automatically dissolve and fill the main Gemini cloth. In other words, two preparations have been made. Li Huamei and Richard were originally husband and wife, and they did not have the right to redeem the Gemini double star gold cloth. Fortunately, due to Xiao Ming's activeness before, the two of them had another layer of sworn brotherhood. As a result, the hidden conditions were met and they were qualified to redeem the double star clothes. The researcher's heart was in pain and happiness. Happiness is understandable. The eldest sister and the second brother have also become gold saints, so being the third brother is of course happy. What is the pain? Is it because the armor is expensive and costs too much Cosmo and Faith points? Of course not. Xiao Ming doesn't care about the amount of that kind of thing he wants. He is actually worried about the Gemini test mission. If you get the twin star armor, you will most likely have to deal with Saga and Kanan at the same time in the test mission. How can you beat them? Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1674. In fact, any gold saint is not easy to deal with. There are too many troubles. It is useless to worry now. It is better to seize the holy clothes as soon as possible. Next, two more protagonist-type talents under Xiao Ming's command in the second fleet of Li's pirates obtained the gold holy clothes. Xiao Ming had expected the first one. She was the leader of the Kunyanwalas forces in North America, a genius girl, and a descendant of the Inca royal family Taya. Strangle him to death. Later, she took all her assets and joined the researchers. Xiao Ming arranged for her to go to East Asia to help Li Huamei fight against the Ladeo family. Taya is dedicated to saving the North American natives from the oppression of Western colonists. Her character and ideals are quite great. 100% protagonist-type characters. Xiao Ming has high expectations for her, and she did not disappoint Xiao Ming's expectations. After obtaining the small universe, she bravely rushed to Class B. It's just 2 steps inferior to Li Huamei. This is not her fault. After all, Li Huamei is also very talented in fighting. Taya is more inclined to be a commanding talent. Fortunately, the Incas did not have a special aversion to changing their body shape. They even yearned for it to a certain extent. In their legends, there are stories of people turning into various animals. So Taya happily accepted the researcher's insect evolution needle and upgraded to B and level. The researcher exchanged it for the Pisces gold cloth for her. Think about Aphrodite back then, who was n times more beautiful than Taya. Where can I go to reason? Xiao Ming never expected that the other person who was qualified to obtain the gold cloth was Xingyi Ilong Ziyuabang. Xingyi Ilong was a dwarf general rescued from slavery by the researcher. His talent and ability are indeed very good. But Xiao Ming really didn't see that he was also a protagonist-type NPC. After opening the small universe, the buddy's combat power improved by leaps and bounds. He rushed directly to B and level without using any insect evolution needle. If we talk about Xingyi Ilong's ideal, at most it is to revive the Ziyuabang family, which is not great at all. Moreover, it seems that Xingyi Ilong himself has no such idea. He just works for the researcher wholeheartedly to repay the life-saving grace. After he obtained the microcosm, he was able to improve so much. Xiao Ming estimated that he must have a strong fighting talent and a strong character to be able to do this. Of course, his loyal subordinates deserve a gold saint. Let's give it to him, Scorpio. I won't list the others here one by one. Anyway, there are silver level ones, bronze level ones, and some even obtained the microcosm seeds, but there was no improvement and they could only be miscellaneous soldiers. There are so many. Among the Li family pirate generals, Xiao Ming is very optimistic about several of them and thinks they have the hope of becoming gold saints. Unfortunately, they are all unsatisfactory. For example, the half-elf Yan Duque, a super handsome guy, has high swordsmanship and strong abilities. He is a good all-rounder in all aspects. I didn't expect to get only one bronze cloth of the white bird. Sober Bai Mu, a master of Japanese swordsmanship, with superb swordsmanship and excellent temperament, only got one bronze cloth of the dragon. He failed to get the silver cloth. In addition, the bronze cloth of the Pegasus belonged to Luque Tomato, the bronze cloth of the Andromeda fell into the hands of Julian Logo Si. In addition, the Phoenix cloth has been worn by Lin Mei, and the clothes of the 5 bronze warriors can be regarded as belonging to the Li family. But not all belong to the researcher. Others such as Yang Zio, James Reed, Sci-fi Khan, and others also wore the clothes. The barbecue girl rejected the researcher's proposal to open her small universe, and Suyubi, Li Ziohe, and Bader were only at the level of ordinary saints. Tia's lover Fin Blanco, the 3 brothers of the Ladeo family, the Indians such as Hemprope Harpoon, and other heroes and generals did not gain full trust. Did not participate. It doesn't matter if it's others, but Fin Blanco will be shocked by Tia's sudden strength. In the future, when the couple have conflicts, Fin will not be able to beat Tia. Just when Xiao Ming was worried about the family happiness of his subordinates, the Chinese girl Chun-Li rushed into his bedroom. The first female palace is a temple/palace with a large area. As the owner, the bedroom of the researcher is actually quite large, with several floors above and below. It is no problem to squeeze in hundreds of people. It can even accommodate 300 crane soldiers. Otherwise, Xiao Ming would not be busy with these things here. The Chinese girl broke in for nothing else, just to ask the researcher to inject her with the Insect Man evolution needle to upgrade her so that she can exchange for the gold armor. She, the white man Long, and the red man Ken have always been unwilling to evolve into insect people, and want to earn a gold armor by their own efforts. Why did you suddenly change your mind? Alas, you can't not change. Now there is only one gold armor left. The Chinese girl has been quietly following the progress of this matter. When she knew that there was only one gold armor left, she could no longer be reserved. If she hesitated any longer, the researcher might find someone else to snatch the holy cloth. Even if there was no one else, Long and Ken might not be able to sit still. If they got there first, she would lose this opportunity forever. She actually overthought the last point. Since she knew that there was only one Aquarius gold holy cloth left. With Chun-Li here, Xiao Ming would definitely not give it to the 2 Westerners. Chun-Li probably saw that the wings of the Crane Army female warriors were very handsome, and it was also very cool to be able to fly into the sky. So she asked the Delver to give her the same wings. After obtaining the cloth, she quickly joined the Crane Army and became its deputy commander within a few days. This is a story for another time. At this point, Xiao Ming's collection of cloths has come to an end. Let's summarize. Now the new 3 gold saints are Aries Zhang Hong, Taurus Zhang Ren, Gemini Li Huamei and Richard, Cancer Death Mask, Leo Niu Er, Virgo Delver, Libra Mo Lao, Scorpio Xingyi Longzhou Bang, Sagittarius Nobu, Capricorn Niuda, Aquarius Chun-Li, Pisces Tia Strangle Him. The 12 gold cloths all have owners, and they are all closely related to the Delver, but the system did not issue the red legendary task glory of the 12 zodiacs. Instead, it was split into 12 separate tasks. Among them, the tasks of 10 zodiacs were issued to the Delver. 2 zodiacs were perfectly missed. It is Gemini and Cancer. Li Huamei and Richard are just sworn brothers of the researcher, not subordinates. So they are independent. And the mission of Death Mask has actually been independent for a long time. The relationship between Death Mask and Xiaoming is a subordinate relationship in reality, but the game system does not recognize this relationship. In other words, from the beginning when Death Mask got the Cancer Gold Cloth, this legendary mission has been ruined. It was right not to let the alien King Kong exchange the gold cloth. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1675. In the next few days, Xiaoming mainly focused on helping his subordinates pass various holy clothes test tasks, and build palaces for them when he was free. During this period, he also sent the explorers' two masters, Guo Jinsong and Gong Sun Sheng, back to the Song dynasty from the Nordic Fairy Palace. They will explain what they saw and heard in the Fairy Palace to the headquarters to further study whether to cooperate. In addition, shopkeeper Huo Yingying has not been able to convince the top management to let the Huo's Chamber of Commerce move into the Nordic Fairy Palace in a large scale. However, within his authority, he rented a few shops in the Yaoguang Star Palace and started a business in the Fairy Palace in the name of the Wushan Town branch. The explorer specially helped him transport some goods and two guys to Northern Europe. I don't know if they can stand the severe cold climate here. The residents of the Fairy Palace are currently only the less than 100 people of the Rjul Viking Orc tribe, and they are all very poor. Therefore, the Huo's Chamber of Commerce cannot collect any money in the early stage, and can only barter or even temporarily lend it to the orcs. It can only be said that it is still in the investment stage, hoping to reap rewards in the future. The people who received the holy clothes under Xiaoming were different from the alien. Among them, only Zhang Hong, Zhang Ren, and Death Mask were Xiaoming's diehards. The others were just NPCs. They were loyal to the researchers, but they didn't have to obey orders in everything. They could make their own choices. So, almost everyone chose to try the test mission of the holy clothes alone. Even Death Mask tried it himself, because Xiaoming didn't restrict this insect-human guard at all. The result was that almost all the people who accepted the test missions of the Bronze Five Little Strong Men and the Gold Saints were wiped out. The only one who won was Death Mask. Because the person who tested Death Mask was himself, and he was still the one who had not been reincarnated as an insect-human guard and lacked some ability. Winning was a matter of course. Among the other people who accepted the test missions of the Bronze and Silver Holy Clothes, a few won, and the others failed. How could he beat the genuine Saint Ceu with a big move when he just learned the small universe and didn't know any moves? In fact, the test missions set by the system are used to train new fighters. Players or NPCs who obtain the holy clothes should first exchange for moves, and then practice hard. You can activate the test missions when you have time, and get familiar with the moves in actual combat. That's why there is no penalty for failure. Xiaoming's previous method of passing the level was a complete waste of resources. Although the character did get the small universe reward earlier, he also lost the opportunity to repeatedly fight with his predecessors in actual combat. This experience is the truly valuable wealth. Xiaoming didn't understand this truth, and most of these NPCs didn't understand it. However, the boss was stingy and was reluctant to exchange big moves for them. Therefore, they could only follow Xiaoming's pace. So Xiaoming personally went to the battlefield to help his subordinates accept the test of the Gold Saint. The result, half and half. Pisces Aphrodite, who has the most beautiful appearance among the saints and an overwhelming power that is also powerful among the strongest gold saints, is known as the warrior of beauty that shines between heaven and earth, but in fact, his fighting power is the bottom among the gold saints. He uses roses as weapons, and his fighting style is perfectly restrained by Xiaoming. You know, Xiaoming copied the ability of the fox demon Karama and can also manipulate plants at will. Aphrodite is just a younger brother in front of him. The researcher didn't even need to use Tianwuebe alone to easily defeat Aphrodite. Obtain 2000 points of small universe. 2 cornerstones of the Temple of Athena. Taya strangled him and also obtained 2000 points of small universe. Pisces has many tricks, and she also got them. Some are system rewards, and some are exchanged for her by Xiaoming. Xiaoming looked at these tricks and was a little jealous, because they are very suitable for her to use. So she often pulled Taya to teach herself. Taya is also a busy person, so she agreed to let the boss use the ability of private tutor and taught all these tricks to Xiaoming in a teacher's uniform. Aphrodite is the first test of the Gold Saint that Xiaoming passed. The second person to be defeated was Aldiba of Taurus. He is known as the bravest man in the zodiac. He is a master of pure physical skills. His attack move is called Giant Horn, which is famous for its power and speed. When the move is launched, he hugs his arms and is in the III style. The way to make the opponent unable to see this move is actually to concentrate the small universe on the wrist and send out a light speed shockwave from the wrist, destroying everything, with a very high hit rate. During III defense, Aldiba is in the defensive style, using the light speed small universe of both hands to concentrate around the body to form a defensive wall. When it is launched, the enemy's attack will be like hitting the air, and there is no way to hurt Aldiba's body. He can be said to be a master of both offense and defense, but he is slightly worse in other aspects. He failed to reach the 8th level S. In terms of attack power alone, he is not as good as the Tianxia star god warrior Check Fried. So he is not a threat to the researcher, but was defeated by the poison of Royal Demon Palace Rose. Xiaoming learned this trick on the spot. He learned it from Pisces. After the poison fruit and the fox demon Karama's ability, it was no problem for him to charm Aldebaran. The mission was completed, and the reward was the same as Pisces. It was enough for Zhongren to learn his tricks. Xiaoming himself was not interested. And Xiaoming's easy road to pass the level also ended here. Xiaoming tried the strongest ones, Liber Dou, Hatsum Shaka, Gemini Saga, and Sagittarius Ialos, and after a quick defeat, he stopped trying for the time being. Other slightly weaker gold saints, such as Capricorn Shura, Scorpio Milo, Aquarius Camus, and Leo Iolia, were not easy to defeat. Against the 4 of them, the researcher could survive 12 hours, but could not really defeat them. This was meaningless. So Xiaoming used Tianwuebe alone on these 4. He caught the 4 of them off guard. According to the program, after a set of skills, they only had a little blood left. And without the ability to heal themselves, they were defeated one after another. Niuda, Niu Er, Xingyi Ilang, and Chunli officially became the masters of the gold cloth. Each of the 4 gold saints increased the upper limit of the small universe for the researcher by 4,000 points, which has now reached 23,000. Their moves were very ordinary, so Xiaoming didn't go out of his way to learn them. Mr. Mu of Aries is quite special. In terms of hard power, he seems to be similar to Shura, Camus and others, but his senses are very sharp. Every time the researcher wants to use the heavenly dance wheel, he will sense it in advance and can't hit it at all. So Xiaoming had to admit defeat in time and let the mission fail. This is a person who can be defeated. If you rely on spending 12 hours to pass the level, it will be very uneconomical. Keep it first and find a way later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1676. Just when there was still a lot of things to be done in the Greek sanctuary, Xiaoming was abducted by the prehistoric forces using the Rainbow Bridge and was released a few hours later. After returning, several Xiaomings had to arrange their own affairs. Many things were disrupted by this. Red Xiaoming and Orange Xiaoming were not abducted, so they did not change places. One continued to hide in the underworld more honestly to ensure his absolute survival, the other continued to be a cactus in that strange world. Green Xiaoming went to the demon realm to rectify the situation and transformed into the ultimate Zerg soldier Leviathan. Silver Xiaoming returned to Pangustar's home to greet everyone and comfort the emotions of brother Wen, sister, and others. Huang Xiaoming was concentrating on studying which of the three identities of farmers, hunters, and beggars in the crazy dragon galaxy would be more convenient for him to act. In the end, Huang Xiaoming chose to be a lizard beggar. It's good to be a beggar. Living in the city, you are very close to everything in modern society and will not be far away from current affairs. And it is particularly concealed. Most people don't pay attention to the beggars around them, making it easier for Xiaoming to hide his identity. Even the police probably don't know how many beggars there are in their territory. Maybe he can develop the business of the beggars gang to the crazy dragon galaxy. After all, he can be regarded as the leader of the beggars gang. Although it's just in the game. Hearing Xiaoming's choice, Taigenren didn't feel strange at all. He directly used the rainbow bridge to capture a lizard beggar in a remote alley and replaced Huang Xiaoming. As for how to disguise and how to integrate into society, that is Xiaoming's own business. The prehistoric forces knew that Xiaoming could do it himself, so they didn't interfere. Taigenren even had a bad intention and didn't tell Xiaoming the basic situation and common sense of the crazy dragon galaxy, letting him explore it himself. Epsilon equals Omicron asterisk, alas, Xiaoming complained in his heart, it would be better if I ate the original lizard beggar. I know everything. Now I have to trouble again. Huang Xiaoming casually transformed into a lizard beggar, hiding in the alley, mumbling while opening telepathy. Invading the brains of all lizardmen within a radius of 100 meters. Just when he was rushing to understand the current situation of the crazy dragon galaxy, a sudden accident interrupted him. Kingsinglutip, dear VIP-007, your teammate, the leader's sister, has invited you to a two-person team mission. Do you accept it? What? Xiaojing's sister actually took the initiative to find me to do a mission. This is really rare. Generally speaking, because Xiaoming's strength is too strong, if he takes action to do the mission, it will cause other team members to be unable to perform at all. There is no sense of accomplishment at all. So the members of Mingjing team usually send the leader away and do not allow him to participate in the mission. Unless encountering a special situation, Xiaoming plays alone. Today's sister actually took the initiative to find me, and she left the other team members aside, not even brother Wen, and only the brother and sister teamed up to do the mission. There must be something going on. Xiaoming was frightened by the prehistoric forces today. He was actually quite timid and didn't dare to let Red Xiaoming leave the protection of the underworld, Soul Gem. But he had to respond to his sister's call. Could it be that his sister's strength has greatly increased now, and she is confident that she can compete with him? Then I really have to go and see. Accept the invitation. After a while, Xiaoming, who had finished the mission world, stared blankly in the flower and fruit mountain and fell into a stagnation. To be precise, only a short time passed in reality, but several years passed in the reincarnation world. And after Xiaoming came back, his sister Lu Xiaojing was no longer in this world. Is she dead? Of course not. She just, tisk, this matter is a bit complicated, let's start from the beginning. It turns out that his sister Lu Xiaojing is not only his sister in this life, but has experienced thousands of reincarnations with him. In every life, she is his sister. How did he and his sister get to know each other before thousands of reincarnations? Now it is unknown. It is hard to say what the relationship between the two was at that time. Even, it is not certain that Xiaoming and Xiaojing were both human at that time. Maybe they are not human at all. But since that life, the sister's soul has been blessed with a special effect, or it can be said that she has been cursed. The name is May all lovers in the world become brothers and sisters. It is not known whether this ability was practiced by the sister herself or given by others. Of course, it may also be that the enemy secretly did something bad. Anyway, from then on, no matter which life, Xiaoming and his sister will be reincarnated together. And they have the identity of brother and sister. And they are always the kind of brother and sister who have no blood relationship but cannot be married in human ethics. The two discussed that they might have been in a relationship at that time, and were cursed by the jealous enemy, so that the two would be brothers and sisters for all their lives and could never be married. But they also felt that this curse was too kind. Xiao Jing'er made a guess that this might be a trick she made in her previous life. Because it is natural for a brother to pamper his sister, and he can continue to pamper her even after getting married and having children. This is actually quite good. Being husband and wife for generations may have too many twists and turns. It would be better to be brother and sister. It is even possible that they were brother and sister in their first life. That is why she created such a special effect, to be Xiaoming's sister forever. If this is true, to be able to do this, Xiao Jing'er was quite strong back then. At least Xiaoming now can't do this. In this regard, Xiaoming and Xiao Jing'er have long lost their relevant memories, and they have been siblings in every life. However, there was a little accident in this life. That is, Xiaoming was suddenly captured by the prehistoric forces using the Rainbow Bridge. This variable activated the reaction of may all lovers in the world become brothers and sisters. It is hard to say what the operating principle behind this special effect is. Maybe it is just a strong wish. However, this kind of wish has a complete set of rules. And there is a judgment mechanism, similar to the computer system of the game. It determines how the ability works. However, the judgment mechanism is not omniscient and omnipotent. This time it thought that Xiaoming probably couldn't come back. It is very likely to take root in the prehistoric game. So it immediately played a role, and at that time Xiao Jing'er also came to the prehistoric game. And Xiao Jing'er's life on Pangu Star also ended in the official data, and was determined to be an accidental death. The ending is also necessary. If Xiaoming accepts Tai Genren's invitation to enter the game, his life on Pangu Star will also end, and the prehistoric forces will put an end to him. After a period of time, a sister will appear inexplicably beside him. That is Xiao Jing'er's reincarnation. The brother and sister will be brother and sister for another life. What Xiaoming never expected was that the judgment mechanism was wrong and it failed to make an accurate prediction. Xiaoming decided to return to Pangu Star's normal life. But Xiao Jing'er can no longer go back, because the rules of this curse determine that she cannot appear twice in one reincarnation. She must wait until Xiaoming reincarnates again. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1677. The younger sister's situation also attracted the attention of the prehistoric forces. For some reason, they deliberately helped Xiao Jing'er to temporarily return to Pangu Star for a while, otherwise when Xiaoming came back, he would have received the news of his sister's death. However, the younger sister can only stay for a while. After a long time, the effect of may all lovers in the world become brothers and sisters will dominate. The purpose of her choice to come back is to take advantage of this short gap to go to the reincarnation world with her brother again. Only the brother and sister have the same dream. After all, she knows Xiaoming's current strength best. He is both the Hades of the underworld and a dragon warrior. Her brother's lifespan cannot be described in billions of years. It is unknown how long he will have to wait for him to reincarnate into the next life. It may even be impossible to wait forever. For this reason, she did not hesitate to use the help of the prehistoric forces to reunite with her brother for another life. One thing needs to be explained. Before this, Xiao Jing'er was also unaware of the matter of being brothers and sisters in life after life. It was not until the curse was triggered that she ended this life and went to the prehistoric game that she knew the inside story of the matter. She also temporarily restored her original strength. But Xiao Ming didn't know how strong his sister was. Because the reincarnation world they entered was the world of Dream of Red Mansions that was carefully selected a long time ago. This is a world with a very low energy level, and those gods have hardly appeared. There is no problem of fighting. The brother and sister have no supernatural energy blessing, just two ordinary people. Xiao Ming naturally couldn't see how strong Xiao Jing'er was at this time. After the end of the world of Dream of Red Mansions, Xiao Jing flew away. In Dream of Red Mansions, Xiao Ming's identity turned out to be Jia Beiyu, and the 5 Xiao Mings were also merged into one. Xiao Jing'er's identity is neither Lin Daiyu nor Shui Baoke, but Jia Tan Shun. This is really a brother and sister to the end. Choosing such a world to spend time with her brother, the sister's heart is quite romantic, referred to as wenking. The brother and sister lived in the world of Red Mansions for many years. They fully enjoyed the decadent life of the feudal duke family. It can be regarded as an addiction. From beginning to end, the brother and sister did not try to change the tragic fate of Ningguo Mansion, Rongguo Mansion, and even the 4 major families. They really could not sympathize with such noble families. The 4 major families are essentially the exploiting class, and there are almost no good people in the entire Jia mansion. It seems that Jia Mu and Wang Furen are not bad. But the people in power in the Jia family have done a lot of bad things. Such a family is ruined and it is not worth rebuilding. In the secret realm of the legend of the Condor heroes, Xiao Ming tried his best to fight against Mongolia in order to save the Han people. The key is that the rise of the Mongols brought trauma to the Central Plains and the world. Without the rise of Mongolia, the world is a world many times better, and tens of millions of people have been able to save their lives. This is worth it. However, the background of the story of Dream of Red Mansions is completely fictional. There is no explicit statement that Chinese civilization is in danger of extinction, and the country will not be overthrown in the short term. Although it is said that there are undercurrents and fierce struggles within the government. But this kind of struggle is something that cannot be avoided in all dynasties. When will the core of a feudal regime not fight internally? And the struggle is limited to the ruling class, it is just dog eat dog, which has little impact on the common people, and is just a topic of conversation for watching the excitement. As the saying goes, the white-haired fisherman and woodcutter on the river bank are used to watching the autumn moon and spring breeze. A pot of muddy wine is happy to meet each other. How many things in ancient and modern times are all in jokes? Xiao Ming doesn't need to do such a thing. Admittedly, most of these girls in the Grand View Garden are innocent people, and they are kind-hearted. It is a pity that they suffered such a tragedy. However, compared with the working people who are in danger from day to day, they have enjoyed wealth and glory after all, which are all the people's fat. Overall, it is not so tragic. Judging from the performance of these young ladies and maids when Lu Lailao entered the Grand View Garden, well, let's not talk about it. It can indeed be said that Lu Lailao's incident was a matter of one willing to fight and the other willing to suffer, and it cannot be blamed entirely on them. However, this kind of willing to fight and willing to suffer is still based on class exploitation. If society is fair, who would be willing to be the clown? There are many such things, so I won't list them one by one, as it is meaningless. Xiaoming and Xiajing are just using the Grand View Garden as a place to enjoy the last companionship between siblings. When the plot reaches the time of separation, they will directly use their authority to leave the Dream of Red Mansion's world. Xiajing does not need to marry far away when she plays Tan Chun, and Xiaoming's Beiyu does not need to marry Shui Baoke. There is no need to force anything. Just treat it as a trip. But even if the two have no intention of changing the plot, they are also not interested in living as the original Beiyu and Tan Chun. If they still have to follow the script and follow the plot honestly, these two reincarnations are too cowardly. The brother and sister basically acted casually and made a lot of jokes. Fortunately, the time when the two entered the plot was after the imperial concubine came to visit her parents, otherwise the dream of red mansions might have ended early if they had lost their manners on such a big occasion. There aren't many grand scenes in the following plots. Even if there are some minor rudeness, due to their noble status and young age, no one cares. Moreover, although the two siblings have no supernatural powers, their ability to read people's expressions is still top-notch. Many times, they know what to do by looking at other people's expressions. They won't make big mistakes. Small mistakes never cease. The most jokes are caused by Xiaoming's inability to write poems. Although Xiaoming has read the original version of Dream of the Red Chamber, he has read the poems written by everyone several times. Unfortunately, except for a few famous sentences, he can't remember the others. He lost face several times in a row, which made the sisters wonder, what happened to Beiyu? In desperation, he had to use the story of Aunt Zhao and Ma Daopo bewitching Wang Zifeng and Jia Beiyu to get away with it. With the help of the bald monk and the lame Taoist priest, Beiyu's illness was naturally cured, but Beiyu's little literary talent was completely lost. After such a serious illness, some sequelae are inevitable. After such a thing, even Jia Zheng couldn't force Beiyu to continue studying hard. In fact, he was a little grateful for his son's possession of the evil spirit this time. Although Beiyu's literary talent was not good, his character had changed a lot, and he was much more stable than before. All those things Jia Zheng called exquisite mischief disappeared. Even Beiyu began to practice martial arts. As a noble family that started with military merit, the Jia family's descendants were on the right track whether to study literature or martial arts. Moreover, Xiaoming's martial arts foundation was very good, and his sword and palm techniques were elegant and graceful, and very beautiful. He was not like the muscular and barbaric appearance of ordinary martial artists. He won unanimous praise from everyone in the Jia family. This is called losing something in one place but gaining something in another. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1678. The world of Dream of Red Mansions is completely out of tune with Zhang Xiaoming, and he is only a little bit matched with his sister Lu Xiaojing, but the sense of disharmony is still overwhelming. After the two of them entered this world, the style of Jia Beiyu and Jia Tanchun began to deviate rapidly. And it caused an increasingly large butterfly effect, causing many things to deviate. The relationship between Beiyu and Tanchun suddenly became very good, and they were often together, which was fine. Brothers and sisters, they were still young children, and everyone didn't think it was a big deal. However, the relationship between Jia Beiyu and Lin Daiyu and Xue Baoke began to slide in a strange direction. First of all, with Xiaoming's personality, it is really difficult to accept Lin Daiyu's arrogant temper. He will no longer coax Daiyu like Beiyu used to, or quarrel with her. Xiaoming will never be like a little girl in her early teens, and the result is basically a father's or even a grandfather's attitude towards Daiyu. In terms of actual age, Xiaoming is indeed enough to be Lin Daiyu's grandfather. At this time, Daiyu's feelings for Beiyu were only ignorant. It is hard to say that she was deeply in love. What's more, she lost her mother at a young age and was taken to Rongguo Mansion by Jia's mother, and she lost her father's care. There was always some regret in her heart. Although the elders of the Jia family treated her well, there was still a layer of separation. Now she vaguely felt the change in Beiyu's attitude towards him. Daiyu was a little entangled, and then she was happy. It's good to have a brother like a father. As a result, little by little, the relationship between the brother and sister slowly turned into a relationship similar to that of father and daughter. Of course, outsiders would not feel anything when they saw the two children still being together often. Only Beiyu, Daiyu, and Tanchun's personal maid felt something strange. However, these maids were actually not very old, and even if they noticed something strange, they could not tell what was going on. What's more, Bayu, who had just recovered from a serious illness, was not only like an elder to Dayu, but also treated all the girls in the garden the same. Most people think this is pretty good, so they enjoy it just like Dayu. The style of the Grand View Garden has deviated quite a bit. There are also a few girls who have an awkward relationship with the new Bayu. Shue Baoke is one of them. She has a beautiful appearance, elegant manners, good at dealing with people, and knows the general situation. She is the embodiment of the original author's ideal. It should be a good relationship with Xiaoming. But she has such an unreliable brother Xuepan. He lost his father at a young age and was spoiled by his widowed mother Aunt Xue, and grew up to be a dandy. If he was just an ordinary dandy, it wouldn't matter. Anyway, their family is rich, and it doesn't matter if they are a little extravagant. But what Xiaoming can't stand the most is Xuepan's character of treating human life as grass. In order to compete for Xiangling, he actually ordered his slaves to kill Feng Yuan, snatch Xiangling, and leave. It doesn't seem to be a big deal to kill people. This is too much of a bastard. Unfortunately, most of the four major families are like this. Even the young Wang Zifeng, who is one of the 12 beauties, is such a ruthless person. She relies on the power of the Jiao family to make money, and does things by any means, regardless of the consequences. Killing people is not a problem. Fortunately, she is a woman, and the damage she caused is limited under the feudal social system. If she were a man, she would definitely be a traitor. Or she might become a ruthless character like the famous Dongchang supervisor and the Jinyue commander. In that case, more people would die under her hands. The only man with good character in the Jiao family is probably Jia Zheng. He is upright, humble, kind, upright, and has a clean reputation. He respects the wise and humble, helps the weak and the needy, and has a strong ancestral style, but he is a little pedantic. Jia Zheng is extremely filial to his elders and strictly disciplines his children. He is a rare gentleman who is untainted by mud. It's a pity that he has no talent. But incompetence is not a sin, and such a person will not be punished much in the underworld. After all, he never has bad intentions to harm others. Of course, Jia Zheng later became notorious because he was deceived by his subordinates because he was not familiar with affairs. He still has some responsibility for this kind of thing. But the responsibility is not great. Those subordinates who take the initiative to harm others need to bear the main responsibility. Back to Xuepan, he came to the Jiao mansion with his mother and sister, and soon became familiar with everyone in the Jiao mansion. The former Jiao Bayu treated him well for Baoke's sake. But Xiaoming will never spoil him. It's just that how to deal with him is a bit difficult to deal with. First of all, he must not be killed. Although he deserves to die, Xiaoming will cause too much trouble to himself by killing in such a world without supernatural energy. Secondly, he cannot be disabled. Whether it is to disable his legs or his third leg, there is no guarantee that he will stop doing evil. For such a guy, even if some of his abilities are disabled, his family will be more spoiled by him. Moreover, he might become mentally twisted and even worse because of the injury. Wouldn't that be counterproductive? So, in the end, Xiaoming chose hypnosis. However, without supernatural energy, hypnosis is difficult to do thoroughly. It can only have a slight impact. Xiaoming's plan is to set up a sword similar to the reward and punishment sword. Hypnotize Xuepan and make him firmly believe in the existence of the underworld and that good and evil will be rewarded in the end. Moreover, since Xiaoming started, Xuepan would have nightmares almost every other day. In his dreams, the people he had harmed would come to seek revenge on him. The most frequent and vicious one was Feng Yuan. The nightmares from time to time were a disaster for this stupid bully. At the same time, the Xue family was in turmoil. Everyone thought that he was possessed by evil spirits like Bayu and Wang Zifeng. They hurriedly looked for monks and Taoist priests to resolve the problem. They even borrowed the spiritual jade to use, but they were all powerless. How could those ordinary monks and Taoist priests who pretended to be gods and ghosts resolve Xiaoming's hypnosis? Shui Pan's nightmares did not get better at all. Seeing that the trouble was almost over, Xiaoming secretly gave Shui Pan some advice. He told him to do good deeds to atone for his sins and not to spend money foolishly in temples and Taoist temples. Those places are all scams. The most important thing is to never do bad things again in the future. Shui Pan was desperate and did what Beiyu said. Sure enough, it worked immediately. Every time he did a good deed, the horror of his nightmares would be reduced. He could feel it. If he did more good deeds, he could even prolong the interval between nightmares. In this way, Shui Pan was forced to turn over a new leaf and become a good man. Later, he became addicted to doing good deeds and became a well-known good man. Countless people were amazed. Shui Pan always praised Beiyu in front of others for saving him. Xiaoming also gained a good reputation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1679. Shui Baoke is very smart, and she got the most accurate information firsthand. Shui Pan was very secretive in front of outsiders, and he dared not say many things openly, but he would tell the truth to his mother and sister. He knew that what he did was not right, and he knew how to cover it up. He said that the murder was an accidental killing by his subordinates, and he tried to say that he was accompanying friends to socialize when he went to prostitutes. But this time, Shui Pan had nightmares every few days, which was a huge torture to his body and mind. He was seeing that his life was in danger, so he told the truth to his family. Baoke combined her brother's description with various signs, especially the changes in Jiao Beiyu after he was possessed by the evil spirit. She actually guessed that this matter was related to Beiyu. Even if Beiyu was not the mastermind or the initiator, he must be a key link. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to tell his brother how to solve the problem. Shui Pan's transformation to a certain extent is a good thing for the Shui family. Baoke felt that she should thank Beiyu. However, in the whole incident, Beiyu is very suspicious. He may be the culprit or accomplice who framed his brother. The estranged cannot separate the relatives. His brother is his relative. So the relationship between Baoke and Beiyu became very awkward. She didn't know whether to thank Beiyu or reprimand him. In the end, Shui Baoke did nothing. Her appearance remained the same, but there was some estrangement secretly. Xiaoming understood her emotions, would not blame her, and would not take the initiative to make it clear. So be it. He believed that over time, Baoke's grudge would be resolved. After punishing Shui Pan, Xiaoming did not continue to punish others. He did not hypnotize Wang Zifeng, Jia Zhen, Jia Shi, etc. Although there are too many people in the Jiao family who should be beaten and killed, Xiaoming came to the world of Dream of Red Mansions this time to accompany his sister to spend a few years of peace. It's not to fulfill the responsibility of Hades to punish evil and promote good. He was too lazy to care about other people. After those people died, they had their own local underworld to manage them. Can't run away. The reason why he attacked Shui Pan was mainly because this bastard always tried to get close to him, which made people feel upset. Especially after knowing that Beiyu was good at martial arts, Shui Pan always wanted to take Beiyu out to show off and give himself face. This was very annoying. Xiaoming had to deal with him. Xiaoming was too lazy to care about other things. He just wanted to accompany his sister. The days passed one by one, some plots happened, and some plots changed. Zhang Xiaoming and Lu Xiaojing, brother and sister, just watched a movie. They were wearing the skin of Jia Beiyu and Jia Tanchun, and they stayed in the Grand View Garden for several years. Finally, when Tanchun married far away, the brother and sister said goodbye to each other, waved and left this dream together. Back to the team space, Xiao Jing'er's name had disappeared from the team members. Xiao Ming returned to Huaguo Mountain and was in a daze for a while, and finally confirmed his feelings. For some people, you are used to their existence, and sometimes even feel that they are a bit annoying, but until this person no longer appears, you will confirm that she is very important in your heart. Xiao Jing'er is such an existence for Xiao Ming. Is it really necessary to wait for billions of years, die and reincarnate again before seeing his sister again? That's too ridiculous. Isn't it just dying and reincarnating? What a big deal. Xiao Ming thinks that he can completely use the power of the underworld to reincarnate himself. As long as the curse on his sister, may all lovers in the world become brothers and sisters, can be made to think that another life has been changed. The sister should be able to return to him in the form of another sister. Even his own foundation in this life does not have to be given up, and he can come back to take over again. But this matter may not be so simple. With Xiao Ming's authority in the underworld, he cannot decide where he will reincarnate. If he does not return to this world after reincarnation, or even cannot retain his memory after reincarnation, then everything in this world may not be able to be picked up again. Is it really appropriate to abandon the parents, all relatives and friends, all subordinates, including the huge insect-human group in this life for the sake of my sister? Wouldn't it be too irresponsible? So if there is a problem, of course you have to consult your superiors. Xiao Ming can only ask my master Acha for the truth. She has a very high authority in the underworld. If she is willing to help, maybe she can do it. You and your sister are not that kind of relationship. After listening to Xiao Ming's story, my master Acha smiled evilly, made a gesture with both hands, and teased Xiao Ming. You really don't say. After my sister left, Xiao Ming thought about it seriously. But I found that it was not the case. Or, at his level, the relationship between men and women in human beings has long disappeared in this realm. The reason why the creatures on Pangu Star are divided into male and female is to better reproduce offspring. Even sexual needs have arisen to ensure fertility. But as long as the life form exceeds this level, there will be no such need. Although Xiao Ming has not experienced men and women so far, but he has offspring. His insect humans, his mind beasts, and some of his clones are actually his descendants. At this level, he can even customize his offspring. If Xiao Jing wants to have a child with him one day, the two of them can directly create life through mind power and source energy. It has nothing to do with anything else. My master Acha's realm is far beyond Xiao Ming's. She has long understood this situation. She said this purely to tease Xiao Ming. In the end, she gave some pertinent suggestions. After all, she still needs Xiao Ming to replenish her infinity glove with source energy. If Xiao Ming is reincarnated and runs away without a trace, where will she find the next big source of energy? Even the soul gem, even the underworld, has not spread its tentacles throughout the universe. In fact, ACHA felt that the real reach of the underworld was just a drop in the ocean of the infinite universe. Other places in the universe probably have their own soul gems or underworlds, or a mechanism that Acha doesn't understand at all. Even the soul gem is not something that Acha can completely control. If there are no restrictions in advance, reincarnation through the soul stone may escape the grasp of our Lord Acha. Run to other Ksadagarba's jurisdiction. Then there's nothing wrong with her. Ever since, ACHA has to help the newly promoted Pluto arrange his funeral arrangements. Use some authority that only she has. This cost is very high. You brat, you made me lose so much money. If you screw up this time, see how I will deal with you. Acha said this through gritted teeth, and Xiao Ming couldn't even tell if she was joking. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1680. Listen to me, you should be happy. You are lucky to be saved by the Great Titan. You may think this is torture. No, this is salvation. Because of your sacrifice, the balance of the universe is balanced. Smile, even if you die, you have become the children of Thanos. On a spaceship full of corpses, a slightly thin alien was strolling among the corpses, while speaking irrelevant nonsense in an elegant tone. While he was talking, 3 guys of different shapes, each holding different weapons, were checking the corpses. If they met someone who was still breathing, they would immediately make up a knife. This world is exactly the world of Avengers 3, Infinity War. Since Asgard has been destroyed, Thor and his brother Loki took the people of Asgard on a spaceship to escape to Earth. As a result, they were suddenly attacked by Thanos' main fleet halfway. Thanos' goal was to rob the space gems kept by Asgard. By the way, clean up half of its population. The alien who spoke was called Ebony Maw, and the 3 aliens who were making up for the enemy were General Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, and Black Dwarf, all of whom were Thanos' capable subordinates. Cleaning up half of the population is something Thanos' army is already familiar with. At the same time, this is also the concept that Thanos has been practicing throughout his life. Thanos was originally born on Titan, a satellite of Saturn. He is very powerful. The Eternals are about to go extinct because they have exhausted Titan's resources. Thanos realized this and proposed to eliminate half of the Eternals' population to ensure the survival of the race. This radical idea led to his expulsion by his tribe. Later, the Eternals were indeed destroyed, which further strengthened Thanos' concept. He believes that the resources of the universe are limited, while the population of each race is expanding infinitely. Now it is close to the critical point of collapse. Many planets and many races live on the brink of hunger and cold due to insufficient resources. They cannot be allowed to repeat the mistakes of the Eternals. However, it is unrealistic to expect these races to clear half of their population by themselves. Even the Eternals can't do it, so other races can't do it even more. So Thanos decided to step forward and be the bad guy himself. He established a powerful cosmic army to clear half of the population of any planet and any race he encountered. Therefore, he was also nicknamed the director of the Universal Family Planning Commission. To be honest, the planets he cleared did prosper because the population was halved. But his methods were also super excessive. The loss of half of their loved ones made the entire population of those planets fall into extreme sadness, and almost everyone hated Thanos very much. Thanos said he didn't care. When he embarked on this road, he already knew that he would be hated by the entire universe. For the great ideal in his heart, he didn't care. However, it really didn't make sense for Thanos to come and kill half of the Asgardians this time. Because Asgard had just experienced the twilight of the gods. Asgard was completely destroyed, and more than half of the people died. Only 30–40% of the original population of Asgard could escape on the spaceship. There was really no need to kill half of them. Thanos came to them for the Space Stone. It was just a habit that he wiped out half of the population and let the other half run away. So why did he want the Space Stone? It's simple. The universe is too big. Even with the strength of Thanos' army, he would not be able to clean up the entire universe in his lifetime. He could only fight a little and deal with some planets. In order to be able to do it all at once, Thanos created a pair of infinity gauntlets. As long as all 6 infinity stones are inlaid in the gloves, he can be given powerful power. At that time, he can simply snap his fingers to clean up half of the population of the universe. Thanos has always coveted these infinity stones. However, he did not start collecting them immediately. Because once this kind of cosmic treasure falls into his hands, it will become the target of public criticism. Although Thanos is not afraid, he does not want to be distracted by this matter. His cleanup activities have never stopped. If he is always harassed by people who covet the gems, it will also delay things. His plan is that once he starts collecting the infinity gems, he must get all 6 gems in the shortest time. Then snap his fingers immediately. In case of more trouble. But if Thanos confirms that he cannot collect all of them, then he simply does not start snatching. Just figure out the whereabouts of the 6 gems. Before, Thanos had not taken action because he knew that he could not collect all 6 infinity gems. The time gem and the space gem have always been on Earth. But the Earth is protected by 2 masters, so he dare not act rashly. These 2 are the Ancient One on Earth and Odin, the God King of Asgard. Their strength is above Thanos. Thanos cannot beat them, so he dare not invade the Earth to snatch the 2 gems. He only occasionally sends some men to the Earth to make trouble, and he never shows up. When Loki led the army to attack the Earth, it was a conspiracy behind the scenes by Thanos. Unfortunately, he was defeated by the Avengers. Even if the Avengers couldn't deal with Loki, he still couldn't achieve the final success because the Ancient One was still alive at that time. Loki was doomed to fail. In the year 2017 of the Earth calendar, the situation changed. The Ancient One and the God King Odin died one after another, and the 2 mountains pressing on Thanos disappeared at the same time. So Thanos didn't waste any time and immediately started the action he had been waiting for a long time. The first step was to lead the fleet to attack Xandar, destroy the Nova Corps, and grab the first Infinity Stone, the Power Stone. The second step was to attack the Asgard's escape fleet with the intention of grabbing the Space Stone. At this time, Asgard's elite troops were almost wiped out. There were only 4 people from Asgard still alive on the spacecraft. The current king of Asgard, Thor, the god of thunder, the guardian of the Rainbow Bridge Heimdall, Thor's brother Loki, and the last one is the Hulk, Dr. Bruce Banner. The latter 2 are not actually natives of Asgard. Loki is a descendant of the Frost Giants and was adopted by Odin to Asgard. Hulk just wandered here. After a great battle, Thor and Heimdall were knocked to the ground, almost exhausted. Loki had surrendered to Thanos before and did not take action, so Thanos and others let him go temporarily. Dr. Banner was hiding in the corner, quietly accumulating anger, preparing to transform quickly and rush out to fight Thanos. However, at this moment, Xiao Ming came to this world and happened to come to this battlefield. Hearing Ebony Maw's nonsense, he couldn't help but interrupt and ask, "Oh? Really? I want to know, how long will such a balance last? 10 years, 20 years, or 100 years? What will happen in the future?"